Hello and welcome to the Recharge Wrestling Podcast. We're here to plug you into the world of professional wrestling. I'm Fisher, and as always, I'm here with Keeney.
Hey guys.
And Krusty.
Hey everyone.
So today we'll be doing our usual weekly review of AEW and WWE, all shows, and going through the good bits and the bad bits, the top marks and the skid marks. And we've got our usual news segment as well at the start. But before we do that, I believe we've got a merchandise plug. We want to send over to Krusty and to you, Keeney, wearing our new T-shirts.
Shirts we've got on.
I've got my face on my chest.
Yeah, thank you, Callie, for that.
It's the dream.
I haven't got mine
with
yet.
his soon.
So,
I've got Fishers in my car actually.
Yeah, exactly. So I will have it soon, and and
then we could all look the same.
I'll be wearing it back with pride, but unfortunately,
they're not for sale. But if anyone's really keen to have our faces on their T-shirt near their chest, then give us a shout on Twitter, and we'll see what we can do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So let's crack on with the show. So the news, we haven't really got anything major this week, but we just thought we'd talk about the WWE 2K22 trailer, and we've posted some stuff about it online, and we've had some interactions from Twitter users. So we thought we'd talk about our thoughts on the upcoming game quickly and the trailer. It looks really good. I think they've plugged it on Raw and SmackDown quite a bit in the last week or two. What are your guys' thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the first thing that stands out to me is the graphics look insane. I saw like a side-by-side of Seth Rollins in real life and Seth in the game. And like, it's not easy to tell which is which just from like an initial look. So the graphics, I mean, they've always been quite good, but they seem to have
I've seen a lot
stepped
of
up.
See side-by-sides of like 2K20 and 2K22, and the difference is massive.
Yeah,
and the new GM modes used to be really, really popular. So to get that back is really cool. Congratulations to Rey Mysterio being on the cover. That's pretty cool for him as well.
Yeah.
The trailer was really good. And some ratings have been released of the superstars. I know Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre were both 91 rated. Bianca Belair was only 86 rated, which I thought was a bit low. I don't know.
What an insult.
I don't know if that. I don't know why that is really. I don't know if they've on purposely rated the women lower, or they've just not rated Bianca as high as people like Becky and Charlotte. Or not.
Excuse me. That's how excited I am.
But yes, So I saw that. I've only seen a few, but yeah, just thought we'd quickly talk about that because personally, I am a big 2K player. I still play 2K20 a bit now, even though the game is not particularly great and the roster is so out of date. I mean, it's got people like No Way Jose on it. It was released in.
I think that's so strange in today's sort of internet era, where so many games are updating their whole game and changing it every
FIFA
month.
Updates their roster every week, like 2 weeks or whatever. But WWE 2K doesn't, and there's a creator. Luckily, there's a creative suite where you can download people's creations, and you can download every wrestler, but it's still very odd. So anyway, that's that out of the way. Let's make a start on SmackDown from this week. So let's start off with the opening segment and the main segment of the show. Let's start with the opening segment because I really, really enjoyed the opening segment to the show. Yeah. I know you have some other thoughts on it as well, Krusty, but the Usos come out and they introduce Roman Reigns. And eventually that leads, of course, to Seth coming out. There's a bit of a back and forth. And then the Usos say, they'd love to tag against Seth, but he hasn't got any friends. And then, of course, Kevin Owens' music hit.
No friends.
Kevin Owens' music hit. And I was like, oh, cool. Okay, so we're getting Seth and KO, which is a combination I love on Raw. So that was really good. And so I thought they had a really, really interesting opening segment here because they put stakes on the line for the main event match, which I always like when they do that. So the stakes was if Seth won the match, then the Usos were banged from ringside at Royal Rumble. But if Seth lost the match, then he wouldn't get the match with Roman Reigns at all. It was kind of obvious that the match was going to go ahead, but still, I think the stipulation was added to the main event, and then they had a really, really good match, but with a bit of a dud finish, I thought, in the main event. So what were your guys' thoughts on that?
I thought it was really the only way it could end to make it to make. Well, obviously you couldn't have Seth lose.
Yeah,
and Roman doesn't. You don't want to make Seth look too strong going into this, and Roman just needs to look like a badass. And to be honest, it's not out of character for what he's been doing. It's not like it's come out of nowhere and Roman Reigns has started beating him up. He's done this every time the Usos are about to lose. He's stepped in. Keeps him as
the only thing I thought that was stupid about it is because he does do that when the Usos are about to lose to stop them from getting pinned. But because of the stipulation was if he loses, then obviously the Usos get banned from ringside. And if he won, so if he'd have attacked one of the Usos, technically the Usos would have won and the match wouldn't happen.
I'd have hated that standpoint. That would have been terrible.
It would have been terrible. But from Roman Reigns' point of view, what he did makes absolutely no sense. I
guess so, but it shows he's the tribal chief. I decide what if you win, you win on my terms. And I'm going into this match strong. I know I can beat you anyway. I mean, if he was like, "Oh, I want you to lose because I'm scared," it wouldn't have really played into the character, would it?
No.
Yeah, I agree. I loved this segment. I loved the match. The finish, it was.
I would have rather they just let them get pinned on this occasion. I know I say the Usos lose too often.
Yeah, the Usos always lose. Yeah.
But on this occasion, to Seth Rollins, I don't think it's to Seth Rollins and Kevin Owens. I don't think it's the end of the world. To set up the match, I don't think there would have been anything wrong with it on this occasion. But the match.
What an amazing match, and also the crowd was so into KO and Seth. I mean, we're massively into this. I love it. They were going absolutely wild. And Seth notably had a hot tag and he was on fire. He was flying all over the place.
That dive he did to the outside.
Yeah, his suicida to the the he flipped over.
It's a really good...
if the Usos hadn't caught him, that'd have hurt.
Yeah.
But it was just spot on. Both teams were really bang on it. And I could honestly see Seth and KO being tag champs. Obviously, that doesn't... Maybe it does play into my predictions further down the line if they decide to have all the gold. But I could really see them being a good tag team if they don't get anything else on the plate.
Yeah, I kind of echo what you guys have said. I think the match was great, if a bit predictable. Like I said, I think there's only one way this match could go. I think the interesting thing for me here was how, you mentioned the hot tag, but how Seth just played a face role for a night. And I know he's in this feud with Roman, but he hasn't been portrayed as a face at any point. So this, I guess they had to have, a more lean-in face.
Yeah, I didn't see it as a proper babyface team versus it.
Well, I wasn't sure. And then the hot tag and kind of like the way you watch his mannerisms is so different to how he's been usually, his mannerisms. He's like excited. He's like I say, he's doing suicidas. Like he's really going for it.
Like, the thing is, I think he's had that persona for quite a while, which is making him so interesting. He's heel, but he's just like a fun arrogance, kind of like KO. It's very similar characters. They're not. They're sort of like a heel baby face. It's so odd, but I think that's what makes them so sort of enduring. I just think they're brilliant, and I'm really excited to see what they do with it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
I think actually this segues actually, since we've had such a positive start, this might actually segue into my skid mark.
It does really, yeah,
quite well. So sorry to bring a downer on this, but. Yes, that main event was absolutely phenomenal. But if you look at who's in that event, you have Seth and Kevin Owens, who are both Raw superstars. So they have made the SmackDown main event. You also had Big E come out earlier in the night. So you've got 3 of Raw's massive superstars coming over to SmackDown, taking up a lot of the time. Bear in mind, these guys had a segment earlier in the night and then an amazing match at the end. I know you need Seth on SmackDown because of the Roman feud. Yeah. But I think it's really showing how weak SmackDown's roster is at the moment. The fact that you need these big stars to come over to actually promote the show. It's also a bit of a shame that some of the lower card aren't getting the time that they probably should be getting. We've mentioned it so many times. The Intercontinental title does nothing. It's just why, one, the roster's way weaker than Raw. And 2, you're not giving the lower card any chance to build themselves because you're bringing these superstars over. Yes, it's to get ratings and build up the Rumble, but I still think you're down the line, they're going to run into trouble again, that they haven't got enough stars because they haven't built enough people. They're bringing in these mega stars, but they can't stay around forever. So yeah, that's my skid mark of the week.
I think that's fair enough. I think that's a good point. In fact, that I think if Drew hadn't got injured, this might have been Drew's spot. And I think that would have been where they would have gone into Rumble, would be my prediction, because there's no one else they could have gone with.
I also
it probably would have been Jeff Hardy, wouldn't it?
I was going to say, if Jeff Hardy hadn't got fired, I think that might have been the plan there as well. They might have put someone like that in, and Drew got injured.
Well, we said before that I thought they were going to go down the Xavier Woods route for a while. And again, I know he's injured as well at the moment, but I thought they were going to go down that route for a while, but they didn't. And they made that into a New Day Usos tag feud for 6 weeks. So they wrestled every week. So they kind of don't use people properly. And this, I think the IC belt is a perfect example of the misuse of higher mid-card superstars. I mean, Shinsuke could be in a title feud if they used him properly. But at the moment, he's Rick Boogs.
Well, the thing is, they've set up a number 1 contendership with Sami Zayn. So there's a few coming, but they're not really done much with it so far because Sami Zayn's too busy feuding with Johnny Knoxville.
Yeah. I can go to my skid mark if you want, and we can go skid mark to skid mark.
Oh, we did that last week, but yeah.
It's unfortunately SmackDown needs to up their game, don't they?
Raw is a far better show than SmackDown now.
No, but
far better. Roman Reigns.
It's weird how it's flipped on its head, isn't it?
Yeah. Since the draft.
A few months ago, this was the complete opposite.
Yeah, 100%. I think this conversation we're having kind of does feed into my skid mark of the IC title. We had that battle royal a few weeks back with Sami Zayn winning to become the number 1 contender, and it was a not a battle royal, it was a gauntlet match.
Yeah,
and really excited about Sami Zayn winning. I thought he can win the belt back. He's the right kind of character, and since he's won this battle royal, he's been doing funny things with Johnny Knoxville. And I know I get Johnny Knoxville wants to be promoted, and they're promoting the Jackass movie, and he's doing his bits and stuff, and it's fine. And Sami Zayn actually plays his part quite well, but don't make Sami Zayn the number 1 contender for the IC title and then do this before he fights Shinsuke. Because I've gone from being excited for Sami Zayn Shinsuke to this Sami Zayn. Like, I don't want this guy being IC champ, because it's kind of unlike last week they did the trolley down the ramp, and that I thought was all right. I could deal with that. This week I just
still disappointed there wasn't a trolley down the ramp.
Yeah,
I just wanted to see Sami Zayn
this week
wiped out.
It was just so silly with their cattle prods and like the stupid over the top like electrocution noises.
Yeah, that was a bit rubbish.
It was a bit cringy, but
and then like Johnny Knoxville was like, I'll turn it on, and then he had like a similar fake noise. It was like, oh, okay. Like, I don't know. It just.
The funny thing is, it's even a bit childish for Jackass. That's the funny thing.
Yeah,
they're silly, but they're
below Jackass a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit too childish, isn't it? But I think after the Rumble, that's it.
Yeah,
well, from what I've heard, Johnny Knoxville is a one and done, basically.
Yeah,
only likely to be at the Rumble, and that's it, really.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. His spot's going to be eliminating Sami Zayn, I think. That's all the other way around. That's what it's going to be. It's going to be them two in there at some point. I think they could have done. I just think Sami Zayn's probably the right person to do this spot with. I just don't think he should be the number 1 contender for the second title on the show, in a show which has no built stars, and they give someone the number 1 contender spot, and then they do the opposite of build him. They kind of break him. It's just a bit.
I was annoyed more when
he
got rolled up by Rick Boogs a couple of weeks ago.
That does feed into all of this. His booking since winning the IC title number 1 contendership has been appalling.
Yeah,
it is appalling.
It's weird as well because it seems to have coincided when he signed his new contract. So it feels like they gave him the IC, dangled the IC title carrot to make him stay, and now they're like, now you're just going to get treated like an idiot. I think the thing I'll say about Sami Zayn is he seems to enjoy this stuff and have fun with it. So
I think he
does play it really, really well. So I don't think it's the end of the world, this, but it was a bit cringy, and I'm glad it probably is going to be over after the Royal Rumble. And then he can move on to Sammy and Shinsuke.
This is probably a bit of a skid mark in itself, but I care so little at the moment about the Intercontinental title that I don't this doesn't bother me because I just don't care, which I guess in a way is a bad thing because I really should care.
Yeah, you should.
I'm just wait. I quite like Jackass. I don't mind seeing Johnny Knoxville, but yeah, that segment was a bit silly. But it didn't bother me just because.
Yeah, I mean,
this
isn't my skiddiest skid mark of all time. It's.
I mean, if you had Johnny Knoxville coming up behind Seth in the main event and cattle prodding him, cost him the match, then I'd be fuming. But the fact that that hasn't come about.
Well, we'll go on to it later, but you compare this to how the mid-card title in AEW is being treated, and we are worlds apart.
So I think we need to get onto a positive now. Fisher, I know you said you had a couple of things you wanted to bring up from SmackDown that was good, because I can smell another skid mark.
I have, my skid mark is from SmackDown. I will get to that in a bit. But one thing we forgot to mention in the opening segment that I thought was really cool was Seth Rollins mentioning John Moxley and actually called him Mox.
That's good.
Just as a little shout out. I mean, Seth's done an interview with it since and said that, he felt like you can't ignore the history of...
No.
And it'd be weird to call him Dean Ambrose now.
Yeah, he is Mox.
So, I just thought that was a cool little thing to mention.
The weird thing is, when you just said that, it didn't click to me that his name wasn't Mox.
Yeah.
I was like...
I'm used to him now being Mox. Because at first I thought, I was calling him Dean Ambrose a lot. But, I mean, Dean Ambrose is actually quite a rubbish name when you think about it. But, it's...
I can't remember if it was Seth or... I think Roman said it. But he said, believe that, or was it Seth ripping him? I think it was Seth taking the mick out of Roman. And one of them said, believe that. I think it must have been Seth taking the mick out of Roman. But I just love how they're referencing these old lines and things like that.
Yeah. Their feud is really good. Yeah.
It's
the best thing on SmackDown by a mile.
Yeah, and they pulled it out in 3 weeks, something like that.
Yeah, I'd say again, I just wish we had a bit longer on this. I wish this could go on for another 4 or 5 weeks. I reckon they could really do something magical. Maybe it will. Maybe it goes on after the Rumble. It could.
Well, I said in my predictions, obviously, I had Seth beating Reigns, but then I said that Reigns was going to go on to face Brock at Mania. It could obviously go the other way round, and yes, Seth wins, but then Roman is then chasing Teth's title. It could, or obviously Reigns doesn't drop it and we carry this on. But
any of that.
So good. So anything that comes out of this Rumble, unless it's a complete catastrophe, is going to be so good.
They are set up where if they mess up, it'll be. It's almost impressive if they mess this up, because they can hit gold with almost anything they do here. So they're in a good spot in the main event.
So one other thing before I get to the negative, my skid mark, which is also from SmackDown. I feel like it's the last 2 weeks, all of our skid marks come from SmackDown, which isn't great. But
well, hopefully the SmackDown producers are listening and need to up their game.
The thing is, we start our show with SmackDown a lot of the time because it's
a negative. The rest is positive. The rest is great. We're gonna love it.
But so I mentioned last week that I liked Sheamus and Ricochet's matches. They had another match actually that was quite good on the show, and I thought the tag match as well. Was it? No, it wasn't a tag match, was it? Kofi, and it was with Big E at ringside. Madcap Moss. That stuff was all fine. I thought that was all okay. But to get into my skid mark is the booking of the SmackDown Women's division generally. So there was 2 women's matches on this show, and both of them, I just wasn't a fan of how they turned out. So I think we were critical last week of, particularly you, King, I think, might have had it as your skid mark last week, actually, the Sonya Deville and Naomi stuff.
Yep.
And, I was like, because we used to love this feud at the start. We thought it was great. And they just ran it into the ground. So Sonya was the ref again here, as Naomi faced Charlotte in a championship contenders match. So Sonya was basically, Charlotte put Naomi in the figure 8 and Naomi didn't tap and she just rang the bell straight away and had her lose. And it was kind of obvious. But I'm just a bit fed up of seeing that now. And they are saying we're getting Naomi v Sonya.
Yeah, I don't believe it.
But they've said that before and it's not happened.
Even if it does, it's not. I don't care anymore.
It just doesn't feel like a big deal just having it on a SmackDown.
No.
If Naomi beats Sonya Deville up, so what? Like it doesn't. It's gone so far past.
I want her to eliminate. It would be cool if Sonya was in the Rumble and Naomi eliminated her. But other than that, I don't really.
Maybe Naomi wins. Here's a cheeky prediction. Naomi wins. Sonya says, right, I'm entering the Royal Rumble. And then she eliminates Naomi.
Could happen. They need
or she doesn't enter. She's just stood around the outside.
She'll get her.
Naomi does her weird spot where she's like doing a handstand, and then maybe Sonya pushes her over.
That's probably more.
That's probably what will happen. She'll be.
There's a cheeky pred for you.
Someone will eliminate her, and then something like that will happen. I reckon, which is fine. That's fine. But it's every week it's the same thing, and I just want it to get to a conclusion now. And alongside that, you have the Natalya and Aaliyah thing. There was one good thing at the end of this that I will mention, actually, that I thought was really cool. But the actual thing itself, last week, obviously, we had Aaliyah get the world record by just rolling her up. Here, I hate these finishes where someone gets DQ'd for beating someone up in the corner. I really hate it when they do that. It's not even like if you smash someone around the head with a chair, that's a fair enough DQ. But when they just do those little things in the corner, I'm not a big fan of it. The only thing I did like here, as we've mentioned, I think I said last week, I don't know where Xia Li is. Xia Li returned here, and I like Xia Li. So
yeah, she's cool.
That was a positive. I hope Xia Li is in the Rumble.
Even if she has a feud with
Natalya.
Natalya, that would be great. I was going to say Naomi then. If she has a feud with Natalya, that would be good enough.
Yeah,
to start, give her the win, and then let's progress from there.
Guys, what's happened to Shayna Baszler? I'm just thinking about her when we talk about.
I completely forgot
SmackDown
Shayna
Women's
Baszler
Division.
Existed.
I haven't seen her for ages. Is she even in the Rumble?
She has been announced for the Rumble.
She has been announced. I haven't seen her on TV for ages.
She hasn't been on TV for weeks. No, I know.
Yeah,
I think Rumble's a bit of a reset point, isn't it? And then we're going to get.
Shotzi hasn't been on TV either, has she? So, and she's in the Rumble. So,
that's true.
I think
they don't care about anything at the moment.
Well, this is my problem with this is why it's my skip mark.
They have good women. Naomi's good. Shayna's good. Shotzi's good.
Obviously, they're missing Sasha Banks massively.
Of course, but
they keep it. And obviously, the Toni Storm situation. She left out the blue. No one was expecting that, and I think they didn't know what to do. So they've kind of mixed the Naomi storyline into the main event stuff of Charlotte, which is annoying because when it wasn't in there, it was all right.
Well, the thing is, Charlotte's got nothing else, actually, because she's just in the Rumble. At the moment, she has nothing else.
Yeah. Obviously, I'm expecting there to be, probably Sasha when she comes back to be the feud they have. But it could be something else. We'll see after the Rumble. The Rumble will tell us a lot, I suppose. Because if someone from SmackDown wins it, then I'm almost certainly go after Charlotte. But yeah, so that was just my thoughts on SmackDown.
Well, I think we've skidded all over SmackDown. I don't think there's anything left of it.
It's not the best show at the moment, unfortunately. But when it comes to WWE, I think Raw has picked up so much that it makes up for that.
Well, if you want, if we're going to move on to Raw, I can go straight into my top.
Let's go straight. Yeah,
let's go real positive.
Let's go positive, and I want to talk about mainly Brock Lesnar, but Brock and Bobby's kind of face to face at the start of the show. And it was the weigh-in. Okay, and weigh-ins are kind of pointless because they don't mean anything in wrestling.
You know what? I quite like them when it's big guys like Brock and
it
feels like a big deal then.
It's all right, but it's just kind of a bit random. They do it when it kind of suits them. It's a bit like if they did it for like a cruiserweight title match, maybe it might make sense because they have to meet a certain weight. And I think that's a Buddy Murphy one.
But I think the fact that they're both kind of UFC background guys is why I liked it.
Yeah, no, it was fine. I mean, the fact they also used really old school scales, surely you can get more. Anyway, this is a positive. This is top mark. I think Brock Lesnar is just absolutely insane. He's so good at the moment. I think his look, come out with this funny hat on. And
funny hat, a cowboy hat.
Yeah, but he just looked hilarious.
Insult some of the listeners here.
Cowboy shit.
He looked hilarious in it.
I mean, he was great. The fact that he came out with a big coat,
and then I think Lashley weighed in first, and then he's keep up this Bobby Who gimmick, which I quite like. He's like walking down to, but that's why one of the reasons I think Bobby might win. Is look at my predictions. I think. Bobby's too good to be Bobby Who. I think Bobby's going to prove him wrong. But
I do agree with that, Fred.
Yeah, and also there's one line in particular he liked where I think it was Corey Graves.
Yeah.
He was like, what are you wearing?
You're not suitable attire.
Yeah, that's not suitable attire. And he was like, do you want to see me naked, Corey Graves? And I was like, yes, Brock.
I was going to bring that line up. Yeah, I've got
that is down. What I like. And that is my top mark because I loved it.
Brilliant top mark.
I really enjoyed it.
Straight into a positive.
I really did enjoy that segment. I thought it was very good.
Every time Brock comes on my TV, I am like transfixed on it. I love everything he does. He's just brilliant. And weirdly, him and Paul work as a face, and I didn't think they would. I stick to my prediction. I don't think Paul's legit. I think he's still with Roman and he's playing a role.
Well, if your prediction is that Lashley
wins,
right? So
I think Heyman does something. Yeah,
that would make sense. That would feed into your prediction.
Yeah.
So that kind of
is that they are my thoughts still. And if they come right, then I should.
We're both using Heyman in our predictions, aren't we?
We are.
I've got Heyman sneaking Roman into the Rumble when he loses to Seth. That is a big prediction. But let's see.
Well, there is no obvious men's winner, I don't think.
That's
it's
a spoiler.
Not anyone has been put into a position to win it. So it wouldn't surprise me if one of Brock or Roman, if they lose their titles, does go into the Rumble and win. Because I don't feel like anyone's been obviously positioned.
No, they haven't, no.
Which is fantastic.
Let's move on to something else from Raw.
So I'd like to go on to the next match. I think it was the next match. It was the next match I've got written down. So we had Priest versus KO.
Okay. Yeah.
I thought this was a brilliant match that actually could have been PLE, Premium Live Event Standard.
Oh, what are you then?
Yeah. So I think this could have been at the pay-per-view. It was that good. There were
I
signature
their other
moves
one.
everywhere. There were big near falls going in. Real interesting sort of choice of opponents as well. It's almost like a face turning heel, and KO, whatever he is at the moment, he's sort of
KO wrestles like a babyface, doesn't he? Because he just flies around like senton bombs.
Yeah, it's just his wrestling style, isn't it? He really... and he does the Stone Cold Stunner, which is like the most face.
Exactly. Yeah, he definitely wrestles like a face still. Which I like.
So interesting, I think, an interesting sort of face-off. I mean, obviously, we've got this thing again. I know you're not too keen on with Priest getting disqualified by just beating him up so much. Yeah. But I think this is heading to a no disqualification United States title match, which I believe KO is going to win. There's your prediction. I think KO is going to win that. And I think Priest is going to go on to bigger things after Mania.
I know I don't like these finishes, but at least with Priest, it does fit into his character and it has a purpose because it's him losing his
control.
Yeah, it's him losing control.
Becoming Damien.
And I think this could be done really good.
Interestingly, Sonya Deville had a word with him later on the show as well about it. So I do think there's definitely...
Although the hypocrisy there is massive.
Yeah. I know, I did find it funny.
I'd have rather it been...
Adam Pearce.
But
I guess that's the whole point of Sonya Deville's character. She is like a hypocritical
I suppose.
boss, isn't she? So I like that. And I do think we're going to get eventually Damien Priest turning heel from this.
And I think he's going to lose the belt in a no DQ match.
I wouldn't mind seeing something like... we're probably not going to get that at Mania, actually, because I was going to say
just had
like Riddle v Priest or something like that.
Just had a cheeky pred, which goes into my Royal Rumble. Sorry, I'm getting excited.
Go on.
KO. Right, so Seth's going to win against Roman. You're then going to think who's Seth going to face at WrestleMania. Priest is going to face KO. Seth's going to interfere, but it's no DQ to get KO the title, and then Priest is going to line up to face Seth at Mania.
I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind that at all. I did say
I think it's going to be decided in the Elimination Chamber. So I reckon you could get Priest going in the chamber and just blowing everyone away. I don't think that's going to happen, actually, that part, but still.
Yeah, it would be cool. It would create
prediction central tonight.
It would rocket Damien Priest to the top of the card, which would be cool. You know, we need someone else up the top. I mean, he's already kind of up there, but
he's the next one.
He's like teetering on that level, isn't he? At the moment,
and
I feel like he
looks
can
the part, doesn't he? And I keep mentioning predictions. If you haven't watched them yet, each three of us did a solo predictions video for the Royal Rumble. They're already out. So if you're listening to this, check out the YouTube. We've each done a video. They're not too long. You'll hear our interesting predictions. Which
ours aren't too long. Mine and yours.
Yeah.
Mine's a bit longer.
If you want War and Peace, listen to Keeney's.
I gave a bit more context to my predictions. I was first to go as well. I didn't know how long we were going to go, so I just went for it.
Yeah, and also obviously join in and do your own. On our Twitter, we've put our thread up.
Yeah,
so
well, we've
join in and
actually
do
had
your own
quite a
thing.
few. Literally, as we speak, I'm watching predictions come through. So this is
That's great.
Yeah,
I'm glad
we've got
people are
predictions
joining in.
coming through.
It's good to see.
Yeah,
Live at 5.
So
It's not
I was
5, but still. Let's carry on.
Yep.
I was going to move on to counter my point of my skid mark with the SmackDown Women's Division. I'm liking the build up for the Rumble for the Raw Women's Division, because on this show you had, first of all, you had Bianca Belair versus Selena Vega. I thought they had a short but good match. Like it was like 5 minutes, but pretty good counters from Selena.
Code Red, which was like countered. I can't remember exactly the
into the KOD. Basically.
Yeah, into the KOD. Yeah, it was a really cool sequence.
And Selena did like a DDT or something as well off of a power move from Bianca. Like,
I'll tell you what, I wanted to say, I think Zelina Vega's having a great little run at the moment.
I think she is, yeah. I agree with you.
She won Queen of the Ring. She's women's tag champ. You wouldn't know it because
those big belts mean nothing. But
literally, her and Carmella were split up on this show as partners for some reason. But like, I think she's doing a great job, and most of her matches, like her match against Doudrop at
that was great
in Saudi Arabia was a great match.
Yeah.
So I think she's having good matches, and I love the Code Red as a finisher as well.
I think they actually think quite highly of her as well, because who lasts that long against Bianca?
Yeah,
she actually had a proper match.
Yeah,
I thought when this was coming, I was like, she's going to get squashed, but no, she didn't, which was actually really good.
Obviously, she did lose clean in the end, which is the right result. You build a bit. This is
Belair's
my point.
But
You're building women for the Rumble,
and
Belair's a potential Rumble winner, and they built her on really well on this show. And going into that as well, there's a 6-woman tag later, bit thrown together, but they also I thought they built Rhea Ripley in this match to believable status of maybe she could win the Royal Rumble, because she's been way off it in sort of the last couple of months in terms of her and Nikki losing the titles, not really doing much. And I was kind of half expecting Liv Morgan to get the pin in this match, actually, to build her for the Rumble, but actually they went with Rhea. So yeah, I think she pinned Carmella, didn't she? So they didn't have a pin Nikki, which I thought was interesting, because obviously they're feuding still. So I think that showed that Rhea, the team of Rhea, Liv, and who else was on the team?
Rhea, Liv, and
Dana Brooke. They won, which
I like seeing Dana Brooke in the ring again, in a serious match, not just 24/7. That was nice to see. I think she looked impressive, actually.
She's fine. I think she's improved a lot over the years.
She's a very good athlete.
Yeah,
and we had the cheap shot, didn't we, at the end?
Yeah, so Nikki then got a cheap shot in at the end, which obviously leads into that. And I think you're going to get, obviously, one of them is going to eliminate the other from the Rumble, I'm pretty sure.
I think we're going to get Rhea eliminate Nikki, because Nikki seems to always get the upper hand, doesn't she?
I think Rhea will be close to the end of the Rumble, and I don't think Nikki will. So I think Rhea will eliminate. If I was to predict sort of the last...
She was last 2 last year.
I think Rhea will definitely be in that last 3 or 4. I don't think she's going to win it, but I think she'll be near the end. Along with maybe like Charlotte and then a couple of the other people. I think Charlotte's going to tease winning it and then not win it. But yeah, we'll see. But I thought, just in comparison to how they booked the women on SmackDown, it feels like a joke. They booked women seriously here, let them gave the matches some time, and put over a couple of people really strong, and they could win the Rumble. Whereas on SmackDown, none of them people you think, they could win the Royal Rumble based on their booking. But I'm sure, maybe we'll feel differently after the Rumble if Natalya suddenly wins it. But I can't see something like that happening. You just can't, can you?
The boat.
Very enjoyable.
Sailing on to Mania.
But we had, quite unexpectedly, a spelling bee in the middle of this.
Yes.
Which I thought was hilarious.
I love this.
It was good.
You know what? Good. This is one of those things where I was dreading it, because I watched it and I put it on the TV, and my girlfriend walks in the room. I was like, I'm going to pause this because this is going to be an embarrassing segment. Like, this is like, she'll be like, this is wrestling. But so I paused it for a couple of minutes and waited until she went out of the room. It's one of them things you're like, you don't want. This is the kind of thing, it could be embarrassing.
This is just dropping in. He's got a girlfriend there, isn't
he?
Yeah.
All the single ladies listening.
She walked into.
We just lost 50 listeners there.
She walked into the room, and basically it was just a case of, this could be one of those embarrassing segments that sometimes you would think you don't want people to know you're watching, kind of thing. But it wasn't that at all. It was actually really funny.
So fun. I mean, you had little bits where Gable, I just think, is on fire. We've mentioned this before with his promos, where he said to Orson, "Your partner's a dumbbell." After Orton had spelled dumbbell. It's just so childish, but just so funny. Especially where he's trying to like come out with this really intelligent character, and then he just says these really childish things.
I think they did this quite well as well. How he got his word wrong, but it was just like a slightly different. I can't remember what the word was now.
It was dissolution and
disillusion.
Disillusion,
and he spelled it. He misheard it, and
but like his like arrogance, being like, "Oh, I usually tell me the definition. I know it," and like, I just like they did it quite well. And this now leads into a scooter race. Is it next week?
Yeah.
Doing?
I'm actually looking forward to seeing how that.
So we have to have.
I'm looking forward to seeing
Otis
on a scooter. I'm looking forward to seeing
Gable have to win to make it because it's going to a third one.
Yeah,
I think it'll just be Otis will just
Otis
them.
On a scooter is going to be absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
these
I
guys
think somehow
all
they'll
four of these
outsmart
are
them.
gold.
I'm actually surprised this because
so good.
We said a couple of weeks ago, or whenever the title change happened, maybe last week, that maybe that was it for these guys. Maybe the title change was so Orton and Riddle could go off and do their breakup or whatever they're going to do, but no, they're staying in the title feud with them. And and what's great about these guys is these segments are good, but the rest of the matches are even better. Like they're so good. All four of these guys in ring.
Gable took that RKO on this show as well.
Incredible.
Gable is the most underrated wrestler in WWE.
I think he's getting there now.
Apart from maybe like Mustafa Ali.
He's getting that push, isn't he?
He seems to be on TV more. He's definitely talking a lot more.
Yeah,
and he's having matches
and he can talk
week.
as well. Like it's not like it's good to see him trusted with.
I'm glad he's not Shorty G anymore. Do you know what I mean?
That was embarrassing. I hope we get this run with Otis, and then eventually that gives him the push that he can then go on his own, maybe as a face, and almost like that sort of Kurt Angle push of. I always compare him to Kurt Angle, but the sort of underdog, great wrestler, but he's a lot smaller than the rest. I think that would be great. I could really see him as a future star down the line. I'd love to see that. Just he's so good in ring, and on the mic, as you've just said, he's brilliant. But yeah, really enjoyable segment and quite a fun one.
Loved it.
One thing I would say about this show, actually, as I did think afterwards, is they had a lot of the matches were good on the show, but what they did is, and normally they have their in-ring segments are quite formulaic in terms of like in-ring promo, just someone talks, someone comes out, interrupts it. Here, I thought they had 3 segments on this show that were quite old school in their way. They would have been on TV quite a few years ago, and they were all of them, very sports entertaining, which is, I'm on about the weigh-in, which you've already mentioned. Yeah. That segment there, the spelling bee, but also the main event segment.
Birthday celebration.
So you had a birthday celebration at the end as well. We've seen these type of segments before where, it's a celebration of some kind of wedding or some sort of party.
Wedding vow renewal we had the other week.
Yeah. So you get these segments, but I thought this was very entertaining stuff, particularly when I thought Beth and Edge's tag team moves here, doing the 3D, the heart attack.
Oh
yeah, it was brilliant, wasn't it?
So good.
We've seen 3Ds galore lately, and they've done these on promotionals.
And Beth just looks 3D amazing. City, isn't it? It made me really look forward to seeing Beth and Edge as a tag team, because we've never seen it before. Yeah. And I was like, bloody hell, they've got these moves like in sync, like so cool.
Beth Phoenix looked like almost Brock Lesnar, like in the way she walked out with like the snarl, and she looked vicious. And it almost makes me think like them winning at the Rumble was almost too obvious, because they're just too good to not win. I feel like there's more to it, so I'm starting to doubt my own prediction. I think it's almost too obvious they're going to win, but they have to, don't they? Because they're so much better than Miz and
You can't make Beth lose on her first return, surely.
You can if you've got plans for her at Mania. Although Beth v Marie singles match isn't what you want to see at Mania. But
I want to see something like Beth v Rhea Ripley. I think that would be a cool match.
Beth v Lita. Let's go like 2 legends. And then we had a banger of a match, didn't we?
Yeah, so you're talking about Styles and Theory.
Yes.
So this
Sorry, I sort of just jumped right over there.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Styles Theory.
This was nearly my my top mark of the week. Actually, it was just beaten by something that we'll talk about later on. But I thought this match was excellent for TV, like just one-on-one. Got so much time, loads of near falls. Austin Theory looks great all the time, even whether he wins or he loses, he looks really, really great.
Yeah, I think he's in that spot moment where I think he gains by losing. He's in that spot where he's learning and he's kind of on the.
He's in there with Finn Balor
and you're going to get Vince.
Even though he's losing to AJ Styles, he's moving up the ladder towards.
And they're going to play into it, aren't they, with Vince? Because Vince is going to be like, "You piece of shit," or something like that, isn't he? And then like smash his head against the wall.
This is all leading somewhere, Vince and Austin Theory. Just where it leads, no one knows.
I don't know if you've seen my prediction video, but I predict an Austin and Austin segment.
Yeah,
that's what I've predicted.
I like that, but also I'm feeling Shane McMahon. I'm thinking
Shane Theory Royal Rumble victory could be on the cards. Maybe that's where this is going.
I would be shocked, but
they are. Like, well, I say Vince McMahon has never been disinvested in someone since.
Well, I think this is why the prediction.
Who knows? The Rock, like, it's ridiculous. He's on TV. I
think Shane O'Mac's coming. I think he's going to get
real
insecure.
Maybe.
Here comes the money, and we're going to get Big Shane O.
I tell you what, for all of his flaws, he can do a good one-off match. Shane O'Mac.
Oh yeah,
Austin.
Shane O'Mac, Austin Theory. Yeah.
His matches are normally entertaining.
I'd watch Shattermania.
I can see the ending now. And if you want a random far in the future crusty prediction, Shane-O's going to die.
That's it. I know.
It is. He's going to dive off the top of something because Shane-O loves a good dive. He's going to like crash through a table and just be like destroyed. Theory's going to move out of the way and he's going to get a selfie. And with Shane O'Mac, well, he's just like destroyed. And that's it. There's my prediction.
Fair enough. It's all right, I suppose.
I'll give you more. I'd like to say it's the last one, but you're going to get some more.
It won't be the last one. But this is good. And you know, I don't want to go over old ground, but AJ Styles wrestling every week. Love it.
Thank you.
Finally.
Thank
God Omos has buggered off.
No, don't start. No, come on.
No, I'm sorry.
We're pleased AJ's back.
We are pleased.
That's
I'm happy. All just pure happiness. Omos, I'm sorry, mate. If you're listening. You want to come beat me up?
Yeah, AJ's just, I mean, he's on a tear at the moment. He had a great match with Grayson Waller. He had a great match here.
Waller.
I'm sure he's had a couple more that I haven't spoken about, but
he's so good.
He's showing how good he is again, basically. So
he could be a Rumble winner, couldn't he? He could be a Rumble winner.
Well, I've predicted him, so
yeah.
I hope so.
And you're not the only one as well. There's been a few predictions for him.
I would love to see a babyface AJ versus
AJ Roman, AJ Roman Brock, AJ Lashley, AJ Seth.
AJ Seth.
Or AJ
Seth.
Oh,
mama.
Spicy, boy. Spicy.
Someone's turning the heat up in here.
That would be tasty. We've seen them have one match before and it was amazing. And I'm sure they could better it. I'm sure they can still better it.
Now you said it. I almost want mine and your predictions to be right. Keeney, your predictions are shit. We want Shane-O versus Austin, not to win.
When Austin Theory wins the Rumble, we're all watching the Rumble together. I'm going to be in your faces. Like, come on.
We're going to do a Beth and an Edge. We're going to 3D you through something. But I think we're probably finished on Raw. I'm getting very excited.
I just wanted to mention Becky and Doudrop, who had their kind of dual screen promo. And I thought, again, for a match with little build, I thought this was actually quite good, how Doudrop got annoyed and then went into Becky's room and beat her up.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, just a little bit of heat on Doudrop. And again, this is another one of those heel. I don't think WWE's in the realm of really caring at this point whether there's heels against faces or what. They're just putting people with each other.
I prefer that. I really prefer that.
Yeah, and it's quite cool. And it just makes me a bit more excited for the match. And again, the story is that Doudrop is too strong for Becky, and Becky kind of can't. But Becky's going to win. Let's be realistic. As much as I want to see.
A couple of other little notes from Raw as well, actually. So Alexa Bliss had another therapy session promo. And she seemed a little bit calmer, a little bit more old Alexa Bliss.
Yeah, she wasn't wearing her old
no,
apron.
A little bit of news, insider news that I saw the other day. So WWE have been trademarking.
Fitz reminds me on the blower.
Fax Fisher.
So they've been trademarking the Goddess name again, which is her old gimmick. So I think we're slowly transitioning to old school Alexa Bliss.
You say
which is
slowly.
the best.
Why does it untrade?
Rumble?
I don't want to go into like some law thing.
No, but isn't there like a trademark limit? Like you can trademark it for
I don't know. They trademarked
X amount
Brock
of
Lesnar.
time.
They only just
and then,
trademarked Brock Lesnar's name the other day. I don't understand it.
well, that is his name, isn't it, though?
Yeah, but surely they could have done that 20 years ago.
Yeah, but do you need to trademark someone's real name?
No, I don't know. I'm just saying. I don't
know.
understand. I don't understand why they could have done the Goddess 5 years ago when Alexa Bliss had first done it, but they didn't.
Well, maybe they did have it, then it ran out, and they just have to renew it. I don't know.
I don't know. But anyway, so it looks like her old gimmick is coming back, and
a good bit of a trademark chat for you guys out now.
Very pleased.
Trademark fans out there.
We should have a new segment: Skid Mark, Top Mark, Trademark.
Yeah, why not? And talking of top marks,
Ooh.
are you ready for Veer Mahan to enter the Royal Rumble?
Nobody's predicted Veer. If Veer wins, that'd be.
If Veer comes out, if his music hits, his thing comes on the Titan.
People are going to be well.
And then he doesn't turn up. I'm going to get. That's my top mark for next week.
But Veer not
I don't care.
Up.
I don't care if Mickie James wins the Women's Royal Rumble. Veer will win. Veer will beat that.
What we'll say
say
about this segment is it wasn't the same Veer Mahan turning around and facing. I mean, it was
different.
basically
it was different words.
But it was like different.
He's
coloring.
ready now. He's ready.
There's like some different lighting going on.
He had some different words in the promo.
Yeah,
the thing that's hilarious. We actually loved Veer when he first appeared.
Yeah, he was alright.
They've strung it out so long.
I think he's going to get a big reaction when
and
it
it always
out.
says
I
coming
honestly
soon.
do. I think it's
Give
why
us a date. Say coming.
Can you imagine
week?
us three together if Veer comes out and
I will
starts
celebrate.
destroying
I will celebrate
everyone?
if Veer comes out.
I genuinely, I will pop if he comes out at a Rumble.
Definitely.
I agree.
I'm looking forward to it. It's
Popping
another person. Let's get another superstar. We need some fresh faces.
Yeah, and they could book him quite well. He's a good wrestler. He's big. He's got the attributes. He's just doesn't turn up to.
We just
to
needed
work.
to turn up.
Yeah.
Turn up to work. Okay, are we moving on to NXT?
Yeah, let's move on to NXT
2.0. So I just want to firstly start with what a night of wrestling from NXT. This is one of the best in terms of wrestling I can remember. This was insane.
Cool.
I don't know what you two thought, but yeah, I just thought it was like
there was a couple of really good matches.
Bang, bang, bang.
I think their wrestling has gone up again. They've been a bit more. Their wrestling wise has been a bit more like the old NXT recently. I feel like with we had Walter and Strong last week. We've had
Sorry, Fishy.
Sorry, I'm not calling him. I'm not calling him by his other name.
Gunter.
Well, that sort of segues onto a promo. They were trying to explain sort of why. I think they're really trying hard to get this. They've obviously seen the heat, and they've
not gone with the Stark thing, which is thankful because that would have been a real bad. So it's just Gunter, which isn't as bad as Gunter Stark.
Yeah, and so I just want to follow up. I did some. I say research. I looked on Wikipedia. His real name is Walter. So he's. I said last week about him not wanting his real name in front of bigger audience might have been a factor.
That's fair enough.
Might have been a factor.
But yes, banger of a show. We started off obviously with the Dusty Cup quarterfinals match, one of them. MSK
Jacket Time. Yep.
This was good. Jacket Time.
What a match.
Yeah, this was
really
match.
good. MSK matches. I was glad to see MSK back in the ring because
they're a very good wrestlers.
They haven't wrestled in ages, and it was refreshing to see them. And I really rate Jacket Time as in-ring wrestlers. So this was.
I like Kushida more now than ever.
He's got more character now because before he was really good in ring, but he didn't do anything character. He literally come out, pointed at his watch like he was Sir Alex, and then that was it.
Oh, come on.
You mentioned his girlfriend. I mentioned Sir Alex Ferguson.
I'm going to ignore that reference. You two are terrible for just randomly dragging things in.
I just,
I haven't done anything today.
Comparison.
Maybe it's just Fisher. Sir Alex. Right, sorry. Right, I'm drawing this out too long.
Yeah.
Lovely comparison.
Good segment. Good match. We also had Grizzle Young Vets get a win later on in the show against. I
was relieved they won because they haven't Chase You. I was going to mention that.
I think they'll get a push later on.
I liked Bodie Hayward. Was that his name?
Yeah, Bodie Hayward.
I liked him. I thought it was good.
Absolutely,
it was a good debut. He is an absolute hayman. Yeah, he is like the high school jock guy, isn't he? Really? Like,
Well, the best thing about this match was after it, we had Von Wagner come out, destroyed him, and then Robert Stone. He's a part of the Robert Stone brand.
Oh,
because that always goes so well for anyone who joins Robert Stone.
This might be the one for Robert Stone, though.
I think this is going to be the one where he turns on Robert Stone. I don't think it will last long.
Looked quite confident. Usually he's a bit of a goof and he's being like bossed around, but he seemed like a bit more confident and a bit more swag.
I see this as a no-lose situation because Robert Stone has been like the bottom of the bottom of NXT. Everybody he's turned to, they've either got released or like something bad's happened. Like they've just never ever got over. And Von Wagner seems to be genuinely not very popular at all. So the worst that they can happen is they stay at the same level and nobody likes them still. The best thing that can happen is they play off each other really well and suddenly they've got a good act. So to me, it's a no-lose situation to put them together in that sense.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So I'd like to go into my top mark, if I may.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Right. So I was really impressed with this. I didn't know what to think. We had Solo Sikoa versus Boa, and I haven't been too keen on the Boa character, mainly because of the fireball, but actually the sort of burns on
it did look cool.
Sikoa's face looked so cool, and it wasn't over the top. It wasn't like I thought they were going to bring him out in like a Fiend mask or like Randy Orton style.
Yeah, exactly.
Which was way over the top. But I thought that looked so cool. And if he keeps that, I'm more than happy for that. So this was a Falls Count Anywhere, no disqualification match. And some of the kendo shots that were going in straight away were just insanely hard. I was loving it. And then we had a spot with a garage door where they were like smashing each other off of it. And it actually like properly dented so much that they struggled to pull it up when it was trying to open it. I love it when wrestling actually looks like it hurts. I know that's not good for the superstars, but it just looks so cool, doesn't it? And it just makes it all that more exciting. We had an amazing segment where they had two chairs that they put in the corner of the rings earlier on in the match. And I thought, well, what's going on here? But then next minute, their heads were just smashed off of them. And they went
off every corner, I think. Boa in the end, didn't he?
Yeah, and
like,
Boa.
There's chair in every corner, and he's just.
Oh, did he put one in every corner?
Yeah.
I thought it was two, but I
think it was every corner.
I was just excited by.
It was great. It was a really good match. This
Boa, I wasn't keen on him, but I love this aggressive style, this aggressive wrestling style he's got.
He's good in the ring. I just don't like the Mei Ying character thing that he don't. I don't.
Well, hopefully, we're sort of getting away from that now. It's just a skilled in-ring wrestler. And then obviously the sort of finale of that was this massive frog splash to the outside from
through the table.
It looked like he had whiplash. The way he bounced through after he hit that.
But also he does that splash where he puts his arms back, so like he can't break his fall. Yeah. So he's just flying like chest first into. Like,
what a guy!
Your instinct is to get your arm out. I also want to just give a shout to his face paint. It's kind of Umaga inspired.
Yeah.
Half face paint was quite cool.
Yeah.
And he looks the part. He wrestles the part. He's got it all. Solo. He's in. He's obviously bred to be a great wrestler.
That family just produces.
Yeah,
stars,
and
he
is someone who is going to. I don't
know
if he's going
to the moon. Yeah,
I wasn't going to say that, but
that was going to be a segue. That could be a good segue.
Yeah, that's a good segue. Go on, Fish. You love this guy. Probably
more
than most.
So Cameron Grimes and Tony D'Angelo, who I also do.
This is a Fisher special. This one.
Yeah, they had a pretty good main event. It wasn't anything like particularly special.
I liked it.
But it sort of slowly built and then become a really good match towards the end. But I predicted last week that Grimes would win because he's the face, so it made sense he would face Carmelo for the North American title. But what surprised me more than anything in this match was Pete Dunne's involvement, really.
Back from the dead.
With
a
cricket bat, of all
service last week. Yeah. Where cricket bat came from.
Yeah, used a cricket bat. They normally use a baseball bat, but they're like, he's English. Give me
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think
we all love a bit of cricket.
I think that
next
is
minute he's going to take a scone to the eye or something like that.
Yeah, and so he's. We'll get to Ciampa as well, but I wasn't expecting them to appear back in NXT after their sort of dark matches and main event tapings. but they were both on this show, so I don't know if that means anything. And it still wouldn't surprise me if both of them are in the Royal Rumble match on Saturday night, but we'll see, won't we? But yeah, so Dunn obviously helped Grimes win this match, and Grimes goes on to face Carmelo, who had a very interesting night, just standing there kind of with Ollie J, a singer. We had a singing performance on NXT, which is a bit random, but
very different music to Poppy, isn't it?
Yeah,
kind of taking a more hip hop style than the metal style that Triple H
it's
had
quite
it
cool,
before.
but I didn't think the performance was that great live. I much preferred when Slipknot released the single.
Yeah.
But it's also quite random on just on a weekly show of NXT.
I get it on a pay per view.
It's a promo though, isn't it? It's just a promo, just like we had on. It's like Johnny Knoxville. It's just the same, just on a smaller level, isn't it? It's just a promotion that they're probably getting paid for. So
yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Yeah. Just a bit random.
I think it adds to his cool character. He's hanging around with.
Probably does add
stars. Yeah, it's cool.
Carmelo and Trick are like two of the coolest guys I've ever seen.
So cool. Yeah. So cool.
Love them.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to Grimes v Carmelo. I think that'd be really good.
Yeah, it's going to be such a good match.
Yeah.
Something else that was a really good match. 6-woman tag. We had Toxic Attraction versus Hartwell, Kaylee Ray, and Persia Pirotta. I just want to say how impressed I was with Persia Pirotta. She's seriously powerful.
I think she's been really good. Every time I watch her, I'm impressed at the moment.
And she
definitely had something different.
Dolan.
Yeah, she got the pin for her.
I think she had something different to that NXT women's division. Only maybe Raquel has, where you've got that power. Because quite a lot, there's some good women's wrestlers in there. Obviously, people like Io Shirai, Dakota Kai, but she had something different, a different style, and I really like what she adds. Actually, I think she's good.
I thought it was a great all-round match. I think everybody in that match is great. Obviously, Toxic Attraction are just so good together.
KLR is fantastic.
Yeah, so good. They just all add something, don't they? They're all so different personality-wise.
She had a lovely Sweet Chin Music style kick in this match, KLR. She called herself HB KLR on Twitter, so I thought that was
cool. I love it.
Love it.
So yeah,
just a great match that was worth a mention.
Very good.
Yeah, segues quite nicely onto the women's division again. Cora Jade had our favourite Cora Jade had a sort of segment with Gonzalez. We all know where this is building to.
Yeah. But interestingly, they're having a match next week against each other. So
I think we know what's happening. Critical, haven't we, of Cora here?
Cora's going to win by roll up, and then Raquel's going to be able to agree to join her.
Yeah. No, I disagree.
I think that's what's going to happen. I agree with Fisher.
Right. Hang on. Here we go. Crusty prediction.
Here we go. Another one.
Here we go. So, Cora Jade, but interestingly, Gonzalez mentioned the fact that all Cora Jade has done is jumped off the top of a cage through a table.
Yeah, that was
so she basically mimics exactly what I've said.
I feel like she's been listening to this podcast.
Yeah. I think she has. If you're out there, Raquel, thanks. But I think they're playing into this now because it's obviously not just us who's noticed this. I think they've kept her they've kept her out of the ring, haven't they? For quite a few weeks. She's just been
she hasn't done much.
I think she's been training hard, and I think she's going to come out in this match and she's going to blow us away. And I think that's going to be on purpose. And then Gonzalez is going to win, but Cora is going to impress her so much with these like sort of amazing moves and sort of taking her to the line that she's going to say, you know what, I respect that. And they're going to then
they could do that. I hope that would be better than what I suggested.
If she rolls her up, I'm just going to write her off. That's it. I'm done. If that is it, if she rolls her up and wins,
but they're gonna end up tagging whatever happens because it's not enough tag teams to fill up the Dusty Classic. I know.
Yeah,
they teased EO getting a new tag partner, but I don't see that happening. I think she's staying with Zoe Stark.
I think we're going to see Wendy Chu and Tiffany Stratton team. I think we're going to see that. As like
we need
that odd couple team. I think that's what we're going to see.
I'm not keen on Tiffany Stratton.
They're going to
I wouldn't like that because I like Wendy Chu's gimmick.
She didn't look too good, did she? Against
but then again, this sort of these opposites. Sometimes it might be the sort of bond we need.
Yeah. I mean,
it can happen.
It could work, but they seem to overdo it at the moment. These odd tag teams, they seem to just do it on every show, just to just because one works, I would do it everywhere.
I don't think they've got enough credit in the bank and chemistry and popularity with the fans to put them together yet. Like the thing is with like odd teams like Orton and Riddle, so they're polar opposites, but Randy Orton's a massive star and he's helping to get Riddle over. Whereas these are too new for me.
Yeah, but you say that we had Riddle and Dunn, we had Riddle and Thatcher that got over quite well.
I guess Dunn had been around quite a long time.
I know Matt Riddle's Matt Riddle's like the common dominator, but
yeah, he's so good as well.
It's not always, you don't always need a top star to put, you know, to make it work.
No, you don't. But,
I
think it helps if someone's really over.
You even had Io Shirai and Zoe Stark, a bit of an odd pairing.
But I don't think that has worked.
I
would argue that it has.
I would agree, but they were women's tag champs.
Yeah.
No, they're not Toxic Attraction. Sorry, I forget.
And then I think onto the last segment, which we sort of closed NXT with, was Braun Breaker squaring off against Del Fantasma, and Ciampa came to his rescue, which I was not expecting. I was not expecting to see Ciampa back in NXT.
I knew he was going to get a partner, and I thought it was going to be Zion Quinn because Zion Quinn has had this beef with.
That wouldn't make sense. Yeah.
I thought, when he gets, I was like, it's going to be Zion Quinn's going to come and help him, and it's going to be Zion Quinn and Braun Breaker. So I was quite shocked as well to see Ciampa because I thought he was done in NXT. He still may be, like maybe he's going to have one more match here. I don't know.
It's just so cool. I mean, Legado del Fantasma are just amazing, and Breaker, he's just a star, a made star, isn't he?
Yeah. He's great, and I love
that, aren't they?
Yeah, and I love Legado del Fantasma. I think they're great as well, particularly Escobar. So I'm really into this feud.
And he even played into the thing, like we're all talking about Breaker all the time of how he's like a made star. And Escobar was like, people are saying you're a star already, which is I think he said it's disgusting or something like that. Yeah, so cool. Yeah, I thought this NXT was so good.
I thought it was a pretty good episode. Yeah, I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah.
There was nothing there was nothing on there. I was like, oh, I didn't really. I hated that. Whereas in recent weeks, there haven't been as much like that. I think at the start, every week, it was like my skid mark was from NXT. But recently, I feel like it's picked up.
Well, there's a cheeky top mark for you there.
Yeah.
I think it's found its feet. It's found a few like gems. You've got Breaker, you've got Carmella, you've got Grayson Waller, you've got Toxic Attraction. Solo Sikoa's starting to shine.
Persia
Pirata, the women's division is starting to get filled out. I feel like it. Yeah, the tag team matches are helping as well because the tag team division was kind of felt a bit lost at one point, but I feel like it's finding its feet again. I think it's starting to get there. NXT 2.0 be interesting because I think we've got a special show coming. When is it? In a month or so?
Vengeance is day after Valentine's Day. I think it's the 15th.
Yeah, it's just a Tuesday show. I think. I don't think it's a pay-per-view, but I think there was a pay-per-view planned for WrestleMania weekend. For NXT. I even heard rumors actually it might be on the same day, which would be very strange.
There would be no one watch it, would they?
No, I don't know about that one, but I don't.
Would it make any sense?
No, I don't think that'll happen. I don't see that happening. But yeah,
what I do see happening is us talking about AEW.
I can see that quite strong
we should
prospect.
Move on. Well, we should do it right now. Move on to Rampage, baby. And I've only got one note from Rampage, and it was.
I bet I can guess exactly what it is.
It is not what you think. It is Jon Moxley who beat Ethan Page. That's not even what I care about. It was a right match, but as he's walking out, who's there to stare him in the face? Bryan Danielson.
Yes. Here we go.
And we're going to get Danielson and Moxley. It's been because we haven't seen Danielson for ages since he lost to Hangman. He hasn't even appeared on TV.
I think that's
hasn't
good.
even been mentioned, has he really?
I think that's good.
So yeah,
I think that's what you need.
Yeah, we're going to see.
Away.
Yeah, we're going to see that match, and down the line again with AEW, they'll probably, keep it going for a month, 2 months.
I think that's an incredibly exciting match. At first, I was thinking, it's kind of like an ex-WWE feud because they tend to keep people apart that have like history in WWE. But then I looked at it, and actually, they only had one match, I think, in WWE, and it was years and years ago. They've never really had a proper feud. So I don't think their paths cross that much, because when the Shield, obviously Ambrose was in the Shield, and then not long after that, Bryan kind of retired when Ambrose went on his own and his singles run. So I think they had matches together when Bryan against the Shield, but not one-on-one much. And then obviously Bryan came back, and not probably a year after that, Moxley was gone. So I actually think it's quite a fresh feud as well. And I was so excited when I saw them cross paths. So I think that's going to be awesome.
I didn't expect it. Did not expect it.
No, not did I. So what is anything else from Rampage?
Hook.
Yeah, I was going to say, are we going to not mention Hook?
We have to mention Hook.
Yeah.
He, again, awesome, aggressive, and then we had a sort of after
QT,
the match segment with him, where QT Marshall comes out and Hook does an awesome suplex him
and just walks over it.
Yes,
just suplex him, doesn't he?
That was awesome. Yeah, I can't stand QT.
Just
but
again, good
I
build.
guess that's the idea, though, right? Because Hook's like really popular. So
This
you
is a
put
good
QT
place
Marshall
to put
against
over someone, isn't it? With someone that people don't like.
Yeah,
But yeah,
exactly.
Cheeky little Hook segment there. We can't go a without mentioning him.
He's just awesome, man. Well, especially when he appears. But we even mention him when he doesn't appear. So I don't know if there's anything else from Rampage.
I don't think he's on Rampage this week, is he, Hook?
I don't think he's on this week's. No.
What's the point?
There was a TBS title match as well between Jade Cargill and Anna Jay, which was all right.
I thought it was really good.
I thought it was cool that it was main event.
I like the way Jade Cargill called Anna Jay Anna Banana or something like that. It was quite funny to have a bit of personality come through from Jade Cargill that wasn't sort of this aggressive character. I thought Anna Jay was spot on in this match. I thought it was really, really good.
Yeah, she is really good. I quite liked her little promo before where she was like, don't underestimate me. I put a barbed wire around my wrist to check someone out the other week.
Yeah, so that is cool.
It's like, fair play. Yeah, you can't argue with that.
That match made me think more of those four wrestlers than I did before. So that's what's great. That's what was great about it. That deathmatch type. I was like,
I think
wow.
that was the idea, wasn't it? And it was incredible. And I must say, it's a shame, but good as well. My fears of Jade Cargill being too big for people has gone away. I honestly think the sad part was that Ruby Soho just didn't have a good match with her, just didn't gel. Because I thought Anna Jay did great with her. I thought it was really good. And that's the second sort of match in a row that Jade Cargill's had with her opponents, which I thought has been really good. And they haven't struggled with her.
Yeah, who is it next? Oh, it's what's her name? Varsity Blondes.
Yeah,
Julia Hart.
Julia Hart. That's who she's
that's
on
just
Friday.
A squash match.
Yeah, that will be. Surely just throw Julia Hart.
And what was interesting, she made her sign a contract, and I don't think she read it. And was it Griff Garrison who was with her trying to get her not to sign it? So I think she's going to have a contract where she gets destroyed after the match.
Yeah, I actually feel like
it's going to happen.
That match is more for Julia Hart's storyline of either becoming part of House of Black, whatever she's going to do. Julia Hart, she's doing something right now.
That could be cool.
She's doing something.
Yeah.
Also, I think it adds to the sort of story of Jade just wanting to ruin people, basically.
Well, she's choosing her own opponents at the moment, which is quite unique, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's quite cool to see.
Really adds to her power. But Rampage
well
was
done,
good.
well done, Jade Cargill.
So shall we move on to Dynamite?
Dynamite.
Shall I go with my
break, dude?
Oh yeah, beach break. It wasn't a normal Dynamite. It was a beach break in a city that's not really very beachy in Cleveland, Ohio.
I smell something, guys.
What's that?
Do you smell it? I smell a top mark coming up.
I thought you were going to throw in another skid mark then.
I'm smelling the top mark.
What's the top mark smell of like?
I think Fisher's. I would say it's probably like warm
fresh
bread.
Bagels or something.
Yeah, warm bread is what I was thinking. That's what top mark.
Baked bread.
Well, we know what skid marks smell like. We don't need to go there.
Yeah, we do.
But yeah,
Fisher, show us your warm, tasty bread, Fisher.
Well, we discussed this earlier, and we all loved this match. But I just thought there's no way.
Well,
not one of us could not give us this.
Yeah, this is definitely the top mark of the week. This is
we wanted to top mark it up, but we didn't.
All three of us were going to do it, but Fisher's going to take it.
There was other matches that deserve and segments that deserved sort of recognition. So take it away, Toop.
So so the opener from Dynamite is what I'm talking about here. Cody and Sammy Guevara in their sort of trilogy of matches or whatever it's been. So they were unified, obviously, interim champion and champion, 2 belts on top of a ladder. I knew it was going to be good because these kind of matches are always good where you unify a belt and it's a ladder match and 2 really good in-ring wrestlers. But it went beyond my expectations. Some of the spots in this match were absolutely bonkers. I have to say, that might be the best cutter I've ever seen in my life.
I think it's one of the best moves in a ladder match I've ever seen. It's in the same breath as the spear from Edge off the ladder.
Yeah.
In the TLC matches, that's the other move. That's up there with that. That's how good that move was. It was insane.
Yeah, there's a few matches over the years that have been on a ladder.
And we mentioned the cutter, but that Crossroads.
Oh yeah, Crossroads
too.
That's an easy move.
Crossroads off a ladder. Yeah. You're like spinning someone's neck through the air.
I know, and Sammy landed. Yeah, he landed like, a bit more vertical than he was hoping for. Yeah.
And this was this escalated quickly type of meme match because they started off with a handshake, some slow paced, nice wrestling, and then it ended like that, like just brutal. And I thought the way that
Big Spot City
built up was really, really good. And I think the right man won, so I'm pleased about that as well. I'm pleased with the outcome. Sammy,
thank you, Cody, is what I thought from this because he's led down and taken it. Yes, he got some good spots and he looks fantastic. I thought he was amazing here. We didn't have no cheesy ass promos going on.
No.
And he let
we didn't even have his
maybe they didn't want to put a title on someone who is going to be in the Royal Rumble. Hey.
Oh, imagine that. Imagine that. But
he's not going to be in the Royal Rumble.
Oh, I did see a promo from him afterwards. It was like, it wasn't on the show, but it was just like it's in backstage where he was like, it's like all the rumors are true. I'm not signed. I'm doing it, for my own, off my own back and all that sort of stuff. So it's obviously a work. We're being worked, and we know we're being worked. But I like being worked. Yeah. Keep working me, Cody Rhodes. I'm loving it.
He's doing it.
I think it also shows that him winning the title was a stunt for the TBS move.
Yeah, no, I think it was. Just want to mention a couple of other spots from this match because I've wrote some spots down. There was a Cody suplex off the ladder.
Oh yeah, that was sweet. Early on,
which looked, it was just so high. It's like a high ladder he did it off.
Oh,
and then
I thought that was a great move. And then by the end of the match, it was like nothing.
I was like, wow. I'll write that down. And then after,
I almost forgot about it. Like, by the end of the match, there was so many other crazy spots that.
And I think kind of the last spot we got was the kind of moonsault from Sammy, or he kind of like fell forwards, didn't he?
It was like a swanton bomb.
Yeah, and like the ladder didn't give at all, did it?
Yeah.
So
he just gave a little.
That would have hurt both of them. God, that
Big
would have
time.
hurt. Poor Cody. God, he took that.
Big
But
time.
right winner and Sammy 2 belts.
And I like the way he won it as well.
Yeah. So can I just? I didn't get Fuego del Sol in this match.
I was going to say that was the only bit I did.
It's a bit weird, wasn't it? It didn't really make sense why he popped down the ring and like tried to stop. I don't really get that. I don't know why that was.
My main criticism of AEW is sometimes they do interference for interference sake. They do a lot of interferences in matches, and I didn't think there would needed to be one at all here. This should just not. He did not need to come out at all. They love it. I mean, the main event was Interference City. But I understand that because they're both involved in factions. Here, I know Sammy's kind of involved with a faction, but not really. But this just didn't need to be there. So yeah, I agree with you on that. I think that was the one little down point. But the rest of the match was so good that who cares? Like really,
let's overlook it.
Grand scheme of things, who really cares? But I do agree because it kind of they do so many interference finishes in AEW.
Yeah, when he came down, I was like, "What's happening there? What's?"
They don't ever do non-finishes like DQs and countouts, but the way they get around that is by doing so many interferences to protect people. And they do overdo it a little bit. I do feel that is just one little criticism, but like I say, it didn't really matter too much.
What a match! Let's say that.
Insane.
Should we again? We'll come back. But let's go on to the main event quickly because I think this is the other big match on the show. If not, I wasn't expecting this kind of match. I thought, knowing AEW and their history of these lights out, unsanctioned type matches, I thought we were going to get blood. I thought we were going to get massive, crazy spots. And this was kind of just like...
It was pretty... There were quite a lot of big spots in this match. I mean,
it wasn't brutal. Even the finish was just...
No, it wasn't brutal.
He just hugged him off the entrance ramp through a cardboard box. That was the finish. That was the finish. He hugged him and then he fell. That's all he did. It wasn't like but when I'm comparing this to
Thunder Rosa and Britt Baker.
Yeah, and we had a Moxley one with Omega. I think we had the lights out match with them two as well before. We've had like early days. When they go to this type of match,
I get what you're saying.
It's usually blood and all hell breaks loose. And I thought this is going to be. We're going to see both of them covered in blood. We're going to see glass smashed. Thumbtacks through the eyeballs. We're going to see all sorts. And we saw a hug off through a cardboard box. That's essentially what we saw. It wasn't. I think
you're playing down that finish a little bit. I think you're playing it down a little bit.
Well, technically, I'm right. Technically, I'm right. But what we did get in this match was a debut.
Yes, Danhausen.
Are we all aware of Danhausen?
I am aware of Danhausen.
No. I'm not.
I
it was so random as well. He just pointed at it and then walked off.
Yeah, it was nothing to do with the match either.
I was like, "Who's this guy?" It's like Darby Allin. I thought he was going to beat the hell out of him, and then he walked off.
He's a comedy wrestler. He's not.
Is he?
Yeah, he's kind of like Orange Cassidy. So I've heard him on. I've never seen him wrestle before, but I've never seen a match.
But he's all like.
And he is really funny because
he's very popular.
Everything he says is like something Hausen. He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm Danhausen," and
sounds like I'd like
calls
him.
He's got a weird voice. He's quite odd.
Yeah, you wait till you hear
Fishhausen.
Yeah, Fishhausen, Crusthausen. He's that kind of. He's funny, and I was like, and the thing is, I've seen stuff he's put on social media over the last few months of like him with AEW stars and so he's kind of. It's been. I know
he did a thing with it, like a signing with MJF, didn't he?
Yeah, I know he's friends with a lot of these AEW guys and probably friends with Tony Khan. So it's not surprised he's been signed. It's just again, do they need another wrestler?
He had something different, I guess, to their roster that they,
Yeah,
it's not signing someone.
Yeah, but no, I guess he's in the Orange Cassidy level of.
Well, he interfered in his match, so I can see them being linked.
Yeah, well, that's what he said. I was like, they're gonna do something with Orange Cassidy and Danhausen. They're gonna have like some sort of cool indie moment where these two meet. I don't know if they've ever met before. They might have done, but
yeah,
that's why. And then he just walked off. I was like,
I wasn't shocked when I saw him, but the crowd would loved it. Like it shows how he is so popular.
He will be popular, Crusty. I reckon. Give it a couple of weeks. Wait till you hear him talk for the first time. I reckon you'll love him.
He's got.
I can't wait now.
Look up his promos on Twitter or YouTube. He's quite funny. I've never actually seen him wrestle. He came from Ring of Honor, obviously.
Yeah, I don't know if he's only released in ring.
All their wrestlers. And Brody King came in 2 weeks ago, whenever it was, from Ring of Honor. I saw Brody King tweeting today, actually saying, "Bloody hell, he followed me here." So yeah. It wouldn't surprise me if you get a couple more ROH guys come over to AEW. I'm sure there's a few on their list. The only thing I was going to say about this main event, there was a lot of talk in the build-up because it was in Cleveland, which happens to be the hometown of a certain Johnny Gargano. There was a lot of talk on Twitter about whether Johnny Gargano was going to show up on this show. And to go from Johnny Gargano to Danhausen is very, very different in terms of, I actually thought he might show up at the end because you got Danhausen middle of the match. I was like, are they going to do this thing where you get Danhausen and then Johnny Gargano?
I don't know if I could have contained myself if Johnny Gargano would have turned up. I might have exploded.
I'd rather see him in the
That'd be
Royal Rumble,
insane.
But from what I've heard since that today, actually, like he's not coming back just yet. Because
I did see him tweet saying, I heard you all and stuff, but I can't.
Candice hasn't had a baby yet, and I think he'll wait until. I think he's a couple of months away at least from a return of any kind, and that's even if he goes to AEW.
It's his first kid, isn't it, as well?
Yeah.
I think, so it's a big deal. It's
exciting times.
Yeah. But, there was a lot of talk about it in the build-up. I think some people maybe were expecting it. I wasn't necessarily expecting it, but I was,
Yeah, I actually didn't hear any of that in the build-up, so I didn't cross my mind at the time until I heard afterwards.
Purely because it was in his hometown and obviously his history with Adam Cole. People will thought it. But I actually thought...
Also, where was Kyle O'Reilly here? Because we saw Bobby Fish come down. We saw the Bucks come down, but no Kyle O'Reilly. Maybe he's... whatever.
One thing I did like in this match, getting back to the actual match itself, was Orange Cassidy did a Panama Sunrise, and I thought it was cool.
Yeah, Orange Cassidy's a good wrestler, man.
He's very
good with wrestlers.
Yeah,
very good. And
This kind of
and he won, by the way. Can I just say he beat Adam Cole? Can I just put that's his first defeat so far?
Which is mad, really.
Yeah, that's like gone
insane,
kind of lost.
Actually, when you think about it, yeah. But then Orange Cassidy's beat some real high profile.
He's beat Chris Jericho a couple of times, so he is very highly thought of. I just don't think of him as a main event star.
Yeah, that wasn't the segue I was going to use actually, but that does.
I was going to use the segue in a minute,
doesn't it?
Oh, God, we're all on segues there.
Well, I was going to do a different segue, but this segue. So we're segueing into the inner circle match versus 2.0. And again, not nothing special, but it's building to.
I like the story in this match. Yeah,
we're going to break up the inner circle, aren't we? And it's really showing. I'm excited that there's a good story because the match didn't really do much for me, I'm afraid.
It's nothing special. I mean, the story they're telling is, I don't know if I'm fully with, because I guess they're telling the story of Jericho has taken the spotlight and Santana or Ortiz need a bit of the spotlight. So I guess from that point,
I like it because
Santana and Ortiz are the faces, or like kind of the people we should be supporting in this story. But Jericho's like one of the most over wrestlers still in AEW. So it's just like, I think the story is fine. I just don't know how well it's going to work if they're trying to get.
What I like about the story
against Jericho
is they even mentioned this on commentary, is that Sammy Guevara's kind of gone away from them, and he's now got a title.
Yeah,
and they're not hanging. He's on his own. So that kind of Santana and Ortiz must be thinking, we can go and get a title on our own.
But what about Hager? What's Hager done?
Hager's not doing anything, but is he? Let's be honest.
That's what I would say if I was Jericho.
I forget he was even there half the time.
He's left me. What's he doing?
But yeah, I like the story of the match. They wouldn't tag him in, and then there was one bit where I think it was Ortiz was on the outside, or one of them was on the outside. One of them was inside, desperate for a tag, and Jericho had his hand out for ages. And then the other guy got on the apron just as he was about to tag, and he didn't know who was going to tag, and he just tagged his partner, and Jericho was like, "Come on, guys!" And that's when he went down onto the floor and played into the finish of the match in the end, because Jericho took out one of the 2.0 guys and then did a Judas effect on the other one.
Behind
the referee's back to help them win, to prove that. So this could go one or two ways. It could lead to them siding back with Jericho, or it could lead to them.
This is an interesting kind of the way this feud's come about, because this is happening because Eddie Kingston's injured, isn't he? And they were leading up to Kingston v Jericho, and they've had to sideline that, so they've had to put Jericho in something else. So this is kind of, I don't think this was originally planned for now, this to happen. So it's interesting. It's interesting.
I don't know, because they started teasing it before Eddie Kingston. Because Eddie Kingston.
Well, Eddie Kingston. I guess. I mean, maybe this was going to happen.
I think it was going to happen. Yeah. I think this was going to be. But obviously, Eddie Kingston's not there to play into. There would have been more as well, because Eddie Kingston would have added more into it. But like I said, I don't think he's out for too long. So I reckon they're still doing the same storyline, and then Kingston will come back in. Maybe that's when we'll get them turn on Jericho completely, and then we'll get Kingston v Jericho.
Yeah,
at Revolution or something. Probably.
So something I never thought I'd have. This was the other segue I was going to do, because you were talking about unexpected things. One thing I never thought I'd have was sort of a remorse, sort of like a sympathy for CM Punk. So this segment, fire promos from MJF and Punk again. MJF was just absolutely brutalizing Punk, wasn't he? Some of the stuff he says just cuts so deep. And he's just such a good heel, winding up the crowd, saying that he wouldn't be there, he's just coming for the money, and he'll leave at the drop of a hat, things like that. But then I did not expect the ending, where the image actually kind of like stuck in my head. And
very good image to end on.
I've never felt this way at all about Punk. I love it when MJF's ruining Punk. I just like that sort of thing, where the big stars getting sort of shot down by the undercard. But it was basically FTR pulling apart Punk, where he got hit by a chair and then just sat on by using Punk's sort of signature sitting in the ring. MJF was just sat on Punk.
Yeah,
just so much disrespect, a helpless body. And I was like, Punk has to win now. He has to beat.
And it's in Chicago.
MJF.
Yeah, in Chicago.
It's next week. I'm surprised it's next week.
Yeah.
I know
It
we
wouldn't
love
surprise me if
guys.
they do more than
shows,
one
don't
match,
they?
though. It wouldn't surprise me if they do more than one here. They could.
I
do
never
more.
thought I'd have sort of sympathy for Punk, and it's got me. That is how good.
Alongside
these
this as
guys
well,
are.
they were telling a great story between them two, but they were also still telling the Wardlow story in this.
Yeah, there's
where
multiple
Wardlow
stories there.
he didn't want any part of this.
No, he didn't want to do that, did he?
And I thought he wasn't going to do it, but he eventually did powerbomb.
They're stringing this along, aren't they? They're
But
bloody stringing it along. Maybe next week is the time. Maybe next week's the time.
I keep saying that every week.
Yeah, who
Wardlow
knows?
destroy him, and he says no. But also, we're still keeping that power of Wardlow because he wrecked 2 people a little bit before.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he keeps getting matches, Wardlow.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's all brilliant. The only thing in this segment is I thought, I think there's comparisons to Punk and Cena before, but God, did Punk sound like John Cena during his promo? He was like, "Oh, some of them hate me, some of them love me, but I'm here to entertain." And he just, some of his, like, there was a certain period of his segment, like,
It's the start of it.
Yeah, 15, 20, 30 seconds. I was like, is this John Cena talking? What's going on? Like, that's not the CM Punk I know and love, like from when he was most popular, where he was like fighting the authority man and he was doing all this stuff. And now
I like heel Punk.
And now he's being
well.
John Cena, doing John Cena promos. I was just a bit surprised by that.
I love
just
the fact
think
he came out in the scarf.
big stars who come back. I just think that's going to happen. Unfortunately, it's just
Yeah.
it's like Edge.
No
Isn't
one
it?
wants to boo it. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've got to do this like happy to be here kind of guy. I mean, I was
The
surprised
only
how
person
quickly
who's
they
done it the
turned
other way
Brian.
around is Brian.
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
quickly.
Did you just say exactly the same thing as me?
Yeah.
See, look at that.
Jinx.
We're
But I think
charged.
with Brian, it's a bit different because he hadn't been away for 7 years or whatever in terms of his AEW turn. So they could turn him, I suppose. And plus, Brian and Punk came in at virtually the same time, so they probably thought, well, if we're going to turn one of them heel, everyone will probably expect it to be Punk, but let's turn Brian, which is probably the right decision, to be honest. I wouldn't mind seeing a heel Punk eventually because I love it, but having his own crew, get Serena Deeb back with him, that'd be awesome. But yeah, that was a really a great segment, really entertaining stuff again. I think the other main thing to talk about, there wasn't a lot else on this show actually. Those segments took up a lot of the time, actually, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
There was a women's match on the show. Layla Hirsch and Red Velvet. I thought I had a decent match here, with Chris Statlander coming out afterwards and saving Velvet.
Yeah.
I like Layla Hirsch. I think she's been a bit under.
I thought Red Velvet was impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
both-
thought this was a good match, actually.
They're both quite underutilized, and so it's good for them to be on Dynamite as well. This is the kind of match they would normally shove on Rampage, just as like, oh, we'll have a women's match on Rampage, or even on Dark Elevation or something. But they put it on Dynamite, and I was quite glad they did.
Rampage is the place to be, though, at the moment.
Yeah.
Rampage,
You got Hook over
baby.
there.
And Mark Henry.
Yeah. Mark Henry owns. I love it.
That's
I
what it's
think it's
all
great
about.
that he's over there. I think he's amazing.
Yeah. I think he has a.
I just love some of these
so well.
people that AEW's got. It's just so cool.
Yeah.
And they use them so well.
The only thing I had from AW this week was, and again, it wasn't really much that happened on the show, but we did get the announcement of the AW title match in 2 weeks' time in a death match. Is it?
I'm
Not a
looking
death
forward to
match.
that. Really looking
Yeah,
forward
Texas
to that.
death match.
Yeah.
Which
where-
really will put over Page.
Yeah, well,
when he beats
Hangman Page looked a bit surprised that was the match that was being that was the match type. So that'd be interesting. Again, that will be a blood, sweat.
Texas death
on
match.
bar.
I think that's going to look awesome. I think it's going to really play into the strength of Lance Archer. So
Yeah,
and it's going to make Page look even better when he wins. Because
he is winning. Yeah, he is.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, he's surely winning. He's not
great
gonna lose
spot
it.
for Archer. I love the fact he's in this match. So yeah, awesome.
Yeah, it's good to know that they can just put Archer in the spot without any build, and it seems believable. So,
Is there anything else?
I am out of notes. I've got nothing else to say.
I mean, I've got other stuff from Dynamite, but most of it was just little stuff that happened, like the Nyla Rose, Vicky Guerrero thing. Vicky Guerrero doing her excuse me.
Let's
Like
ignore that one.
like it's
Let's not.
2011.
Let's finish on that note, shall we?
So yeah,
we have been Recharge Wrestling. A couple of notes at the moment. Obviously, we've just started on YouTube. Please like and subscribe. We've got other videos. We're starting to build playlists. Talk to us in the comments. Talk to us on Twitter. Obviously, we've just released our predictions again for the Royal Rumble. So we're going to do this every pay-per-view. Check out Twitter for all the rules and sort of how we go about that. Join in. You'll find us at Recharge Wrestle on Twitter. We're also on Facebook if you want to follow us on there. Just get engaged with us. Send us a message, comment, whatever you can do. We love it. We just want to talk about wrestling all the time. So yeah, hit us up for that. We're also part of the Robot Republic group where you can listen to other podcasts and other YouTube content. There, you can see them on Twitter at Robot Republic _ But make sure you follow Recharge Wrestle. That is the priority there. So
the
yeah,
bottom one.
Hope you have enjoyed this. And we will speak to you. Actually, we're going to have a special coming out on Monday because we've got the exciting Royal Rumble on Sunday. So we'll be recording that hopefully Sunday night, ready for you guys to have it in your ears and on your screens on Monday. So yeah, look out for that one. See you then.
Cool.
Bye.
See you then, guys.